Going to round it out with this: the Sunday Night Football get together. Truly terrible football. Truly terrible decisions. And again, just like the Chargers-Vikings game, I'm going to start at the end. And Brinson, I want you to explain something to me. You look like a smart guy.
That's a lie.
23-15.
I mean, I do, but you're lying.
I don't lie. Often. 23-15. And there's 3:15 to go in the fourth quarter. And Josh McDaniels, in his infinite wisdom, who learned under the best, Bill Belichick, again, down by 8, sends out the field goal team. The Steelers, in their infinite stupidity, get called for, what's the thing when you jump on the guy's head?
Leverage.
Gets called for leverage.
You have leverage, ye say.
Or leverage if you're in England. So the drive continues.
1st and 10 at the Pittsburgh 14. You're down by 8.
And they get down to the 8-yard line, the Raiders do. Now with 2:25 to go, you got to go for it, I would imagine. And Josh McDaniels goes for it with Daniel Carson's foot to make it a 23-15 game, or 23-18 game, excuse me, and doesn't onside on the ensuing kickoff. So on what planet are you kicking a field goal when you're down 8 with 2 minutes to go?
We touched on this before we went live on the show, and I mean, I think we're probably all in agreement here. Like, I thought the first attempt when he went for it, and Chris Collinsworth and Mike Tirica were pretty apoplectic about this as well. Like 4th and 5 at Pittsburgh's 29. You've gone and gotten a touchdown on that pass to Devontae Adams, and you've been like pretty. I guess you didn't have any fourth downs on that drive, but you go get the touchdown, you get the 2-point conversion because you got the pass interference, and then you're able to, Jimmy G hits the Notre Dame tight end Mayer. You cut it to 8 points. You're down 8. Like, I get it if you want to kick that first field goal at 4th and 5 at Pittsburgh's 29. Daniel Carson's a good kicker. It's indoors. He kicks very well at home. You cut it down to 5. You can win with a touchdown. You could potentially walk it off. You kind of trust your defense. You've got 4 timeouts if you count the 2-minute warning. There's a lot of time left, and you feel like you're going to get the ball back because you just did. And Matt Canada might turtle up a little bit. But as we talked about, when you accept that penalty on Pittsburgh for leverage and you get 15 yards and it becomes 1st and 10 at Pittsburgh's 14, you are and like effectively saying, I'm no longer kicking a field goal. That has to be your thought process, because you now, if you do what they do, even if you run no huddle, even if you have 2 incompletions, you still are going to have about 2.5 minutes on the clock when Daniel Carlson kicks that field goal, which he did from 26 yards on 4th and 4 at Pittsburgh's 8. Now look, 4th and 4 from the 8, that's a tough spot. You got condensed field. You got to get 4 yards to pick up the first down. TJ Watt is like firing into the backfield every single snap. But you have just burned like a minute and a half of clock. You cannot possibly kick that field goal and then just assume you're going to stop it, because if you do not stop, if the Steelers get 1 first down, you're going to have like 20 seconds if you get the ball back. And that's what happened. And then they fumbled the punt and you had 12 seconds. And so, like, to me, that was absolutely ludicrous to do. You have to go for it there. And if you don't get them, then you get a chance to stop them, and they're going to run the ball 3 times anyway.
So, Breach, as a special teams correspondent, make it make sense.
So I agree with Brenton, as he said. We talked about we had a strong talk about this beforehand, but like you said, Brenton, with 3:10 left, it's not a completely crazy decision. But after the penalty, now you're down to 2:22 on that 4th down. You're at the 8-yard line. You have to get the touchdown. But here's what Josh McDaniels is thinking. His thought process is that there's only about 5 things that can happen here. And no matter what happens, it's 4th and 4 from Pittsburgh's 8-yard line. Our defense has to make a stop. If I kick the field goal here, we're down 23-18. We still have to get a stop and get the ball back. If I kick a field goal and miss, we still have to get a stop and get the ball back. If I go for it on 4th down here and I do not get it, we are down 23-15. I have to get a stop and get the ball back. If we score a touchdown and we do not get the 2-point conversion, we have to get a stop and get the ball back. If we get a touchdown and we get the 2-point conversion, we have to make a stop because it's only a tie game, and we have to make sure the Steelers don't win. So every situation you're looking at involves your defense making a stop. And so McDaniels is thinking, we have to make a stop anyway, so why don't I just take the 2-point conversion out of play? That's the least I can do for my team, because I feel like that is the highest percentage thing in my head right now. And I'm not saying that's right. Again, I wouldn't have done it with 2:22 left. probably more likely to do it on that first fourth down. But as Brinson said, once you accept that penalty and you're burning more time off the clock, you have to get the touchdown. And they didn't. But his thought process just blew my mind, because as I told you guys, they were in the same situation beginning of the fourth quarter with 13 minutes left. They had a 4th and 5 from the Steelers 22, and they went for it. And if they would have kicked a field goal there, they would have cut it down to 23-10, which would have meant they wouldn't have needed 2 touchdowns and 2 2-point conversions. Instead, went for it, didn't get it. So it's just McDaniels' mind was all over the place. None of his logic didn't make sense. So it's just crazy.